Today I'm introducing you to the ANYCUBIC Kobra S1 Max. This 3D printer claims to be the best large beginner's 3D printer on the market. That's exactly the question we want to answer today. I've prepared a lot for you. Today we're not just printing PLA, and if you're a beginner, stick around the end because you will learn a lot. Let's start right away. Let's quickly go over the features. So what exactly can this printer really do? The build volume is 350 by 350 by 350 millimeters. That's extremely large and bigger than all the other competitors in this price range. Quick disclaimer, I was provided with this printer for free and received a small fee for producing this video. That doesn't change my opinion and you will see that later. The compensation is for the many hours I spent testing this device. Anyway, the hot end reaches up to 350 degrees and we have a hardened steel nozzle. The heat bed goes up to 120 degrees and we also have a heated chamber up to 65 degrees, which is very solid and already allows printing with technical materials. Printer has a built-in 700p camera and it has some AI features. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't work, it depends. But if a print went wrong, like for example, if spaghetti forms, it can pause the print. We can easily connect the printer to the internet and start our print jobs directly from the app or from our laptop. The printer can also do multicolor, but it actually taken a step backwards here. A few months ago the ANYCUBIC Kobra X came out, which stood out with its excellent multicolor system. With the S1 Max, we again have the ACE Pro AMS system with a really slow color change time of around 2 minutes. As far as I know, the printer almost needed 3 minutes for a color change a few months ago, so the software has getting a bit better. Let's start classically with the printer setup. The printer comes in this well packaged box and we start by lifting out all the parts. The printer weighs about 35 kilo in this state and I made the unpackaging process unnecessarily difficult for myself. It probably couldn't have been more awkward. Anyway, the setup is relatively simple. First you remove all the packaging materials and then you can already take out the ACE Pro. Then we loosen a few screws on the print bed and can already screw together the filament holders and clip it on. That worked great too. I've seen in some reviews that a lot of other YouTubers had problems with this. Then we can connect the ACE Pro with a cable and screw the small device on the back. After that we can already plug everything together. We also get an active carbon filter, which we can then install once in the build chamber. Now we start up the printer and click through the installation process. During this we also connect the printer to the internet and download the app. By the way, as of now you're basically forced to connect the printer to the internet, because otherwise you can't download the updates. With other printers, you can also load updates onto USB stick and update that way, but maybe they will change that. Then we start with an automatic calibration. Now we can easily load the filament, just put it a bit through the sole and the printer pulls the filament in automatically. Our first print is this little boat, which looks good, but now let's get into the real stuff. I made a video about viral 3D prints and I printed a ton for this video. Almost all the prints for that video came from this printer. To directly test whether the printer can actually make use of its size, I printed this huge flexi dragon. It used the entire print bed and nicely test precision. As you can see, the dragon comes off the print plate very easily. Now that we already have such a big printer, we obviously have to make use of that, so right after I'm printing a big helmet. One thing I found a bit annoying is that the printer don't support 2 kilogram spools, or rather you could maybe print a holder extension for it, but out of the box it doesn't fit. So I rigged up an external spool holder and loaded a 2.5 kilogram spool. The print went really well and took about 1 day to complete. We still need to remove a few supports and here is our finished helmet. So we can see that normal prints are absolutely no challenge for this printer. But what about multicolor? Here we have the new ACE Pro 2. But what can it actually do? For one, we get a drying function for our filament, meaning we can dry our filament up to 65 degrees for 48 hours. that works while printing, or my favorite feature, print only starts when the filament drying is over. I did that with my PTG print since these rolls were quite already old. The print turned out okay, but I would rather have dried the filament a little bit longer because we have some stringing here and there. Also on the bowl, the Z-seam is quite visible. The ACE Pro 2 has a vent that exhausts the moist air. That's well solved and was missing on the older models, which is why those were always somewhat inefficient. What's a real shame is that the ANYCUBIC Kobra S1 Max don't support the older ACE Pro models, so you need to buy the new one. But does it actually work? Let's try it out and print these cool ghost face figures in this extremely cool color combination. While doing that, I noticed something. I watched a lot of reviews for this printer, and a strong criticism is that the printer takes forever for a color change. With the YouTuber MPOXDE, the printer took around 3 minutes per change, and that review came out 1 month ago. I measured it myself too, and I got values at around 150 to 2 minutes per change. I could imagine that ANYCUBIC had made some software updates in the last weeks. That's always the thing with printers. Often they only get good over time, because the hardware is usually fine, but the software is still in kindergarten. Also something I've never seen this strongly with any other brand. The units vary extremely from person to person. For example, other YouTuber had loose parts, tolerances that didn't fit. I've been lucky and got a printer that's been flawless so far. I've noticed this with my own reviews too. I was very happy with my printer, and I got comments that said this printer is trash, and other comments that said I love this printer. So you see, there's a big difference. I can only judge based on what I have here. Still, it has to be said that the multicolor system is a step backwards. ANYCUBIC really worked magic with the Kobra X. That's an amazing printer, and in my opinion this is the best 3D printer for beginners. And the filament change times are pretty genius too. They went with a new system there, but unfortunately they didn't include it here. But still, the multicolor print worked great. We don't have any color bleeding here, meaning the colors don't bleed into each other. If we want to change the filament now, we just press the remove filament button and the spool rewind itself. But the problem is at the end. The filament strand is simply released, which can quickly cause knots. So a software update could fix that. It would be nice if that came out soon. I also tested ASA, and for that I first printed these 3 holders. The nice thing is that the printer has a heated chamber up to 65 degrees, and ASA is best printed in a warm environment. By the way, these are made of Prusa Galaxy Black ASA, which is why they have this particular look. They work great, there are just these small irregularities on the back, but I have no clue why they are there. I then had to print these holders again, and those also work well, and there were no warping. A lot of people are worried that the prints don't stick to the print plate, but I had no problem with that. But how does this printer now compare to the competition? The probably most similar printer is the Bambu H2S Combo. ANYCUBIC clearly took inspiration from that printer. The nozzle temperature is the same and so on, but the ANYCUBIC printer is a bit bigger and a lot cheaper. And a few centimeters can really make a huge difference depending on your project. But you could talk about these differences all day, so I would recommend you that you just watch a review for the Bambu H2S Combo. In this price range, the Snapmaker U1 also compete. With that you get a tool changer, which brings a lot of advantages. If you want to do a lot of multicolor prints, the Snapmaker is the better choice, but the Snapmaker 1 isn't this large, and you need to buy an upgrade kit if you want to print technical materials. As you can see, there is no simple yes or no. It always depends on your personal use case. So for who is this printer for? What makes this printer special is the size combined with an enclosed build chamber. For me personally, the printer worked really well. But I can't speak for everyone, and I also know a lot of people who aren't happy with this printer. But I think ANYCUBIC has already fixed some of these issues on the software hardware side. In the end, the hardware is good, and I hope ANYCUBIC continues to improve the software, because then this printer will really be a machine. Especially for cosplay fans, I have to say this printer is amazing. With the size, you can print almost everything in one piece without having to glue parts together afterwards. And it's always better to have a bit more space than you need rather than too little. What's your opinion on this printer? Write it down in the comments, and please subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching.